and welcome to this month's Horton Hangout. I'm Laura Horton and I'm joined with my lovely colleague.
Hello, I'm Mike Bentley, for those of you that don't know me.
Hello. So this is the only Horton Hangout of the month, and we've got lots of questions to get through. We're actually really enjoying that people are just sending us questions, particularly through Facebook message, as things come up in their minds, which is really good. So we don't necessarily need to be like, send us questions. We're getting lots through. I'm going to start. I've got a really good one. Well, they're all really good, actually. I have to say, in all honesty, we never say, oh, that's one we can't answer, or that's, we always get good questions. So this first one, how would you organise or / split a practice manager's week in an ideal world? Well, firstly, I think the ideal world is something really important to discuss. And I think you really need to start, all practice managers need to start by working out actually what are they doing day to day, what projects are there to work on as well. And once you have all that in black and white, then it's important to speak to your practice owner and say, well, these are all the things I am doing. These are the things I'm meant to be doing. I definitely don't have time for this section and this section. What do you want me to do? Because often we find that practice managers are firefighting, they're working in reactive management, and then they're not actually doing the things that the practice owners want them to do, and there becomes a breakdown in communication. And we know this because we run a management course. And I'm, in one of my days, I spend a lot of time on time management because it's something I absolutely love. So first of all, what should you be doing? Have you got your communication clear? That's very important. And then, yes, you do need to work out your week, but again, it all depends on priorities. What's important, if, for example, you've got suddenly find out you've got a CQC inspection coming up in 3-4 weeks' time, that's going to be your priority. However, there are fundamental key things in a business that are really important that you are working on at all times, which are your sales systems, your finance, your marketing, your team development, your HR, your system development. The key fundamental things in the business that must be addressed constantly. So it's quite hard to say how it should be split as a whole because it's so different for every single manager, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah, it definitely is. But what I would say is that a lot of time is wasted with the team coming in and out as they want to. So lots of practices have what I call an open door policy, which I absolutely hate. I think it's the worst thing in practice. I'm available 24 hours a day. Well, you're not available 24 hours a day, because if you have a drop-in centre all day, then that's exactly what you'll get, a drop-in centre. So you are unable to be proactive, even if you are doing a project. And if you're doing something that is sensitive, then you are constantly trying to cover it up, hide it, whatever it may be, because you've got somebody coming in and out. So you've got a lot of disruptions going on through your day. So for my top tip really is you've got to manage your disruptions. So at the start of the day, walk in, set it up, make sure that everybody's where they're supposed to be, that they're comfortable, that they're well enough to be in the jobs, that there's no one-to-ones that need doing, there's no welfare that needs doing right at the start of the day. If people are returning back to work, do their back to work interviews right at the start of the day. Then I would door closed, from 10 o'clock to 11:30, 12 o'clock, shut your door, okay? And work on a project that's important, which Laura's already talked about those. Then I would either have your lunch slightly before the rest of the team or after the team, and I would walk out of the practice for at least half an hour to give yourselves a break, because I think that's really important, so you don't spend your whole lunch hour answering team questions, which again, you need a break away, which is really important. And then you can have your open door policy over the lunchtime period for the team, so that therefore if they want to drop in, they can do. And I would also book in your sales calls at that time as well, so the front desk team are booking you any calls that you need to do, and you can look at your emails, so you can do a bit of what I call a bit of reactive management in that time. After lunchtime is completed, then have another block of project management time to work on an area that's important for the business owners and yourself, and then you need sort of an hour to close down, walk around, make sure your team are okay, you know, start to deal with any problems of close of day and things like that, and recheck emails and blah, blah, blah. What we find out in practice managers is because we're very good multitaskers, we also get distracted very easily. So it's very easy to get distracted with something else that's totally irrelevant and totally unimportant. But an email comes in, I need to look at the email. A staff member pops in, I need to chat and have a conversation with them. And actually, is this the right time to be doing either of those tasks? 9 times out of 10, it isn't. So that's my top tip in that area.
Yeah, no, and you're completely correct. And just to share with you all, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Our management course is a big game changer for everyone who attends, dentists and managers. And day one does start with leadership, communication, and time management is a key part of that, because there's a fantastic saying that leaders schedule their priorities. And I absolutely love that. And it's a huge light bulb moment. And it's also a bit of panic when I'm getting practice managers to design their diaries where there's, 90 minutes of do not disturb time once a day. That's all. There's a bit of panic about how the team are going to react, but there's also the, wow, look what I'm going to achieve. Amazing. So, and it is fantastic. It really is. So, yeah. I'm up for an open door policy, but at the right time. So Mike and I, as always, are in agreement. We've also had a couple of questions come through about membership. So I'm just going to tie both of those together, and then Mike's got a question that we want to read out as well. So one person's contacted us saying, which company should I use? Help, where do I start with this? And another person has said about how can you add benefits into membership? So again, same subject, but 2 questions that we'll roll into one. Mike, do you want to start there?
Yeah, so the important thing with membership is to make it very clear that you want patients to become a member and what your actual offer is going to be. One of the key things for me is that membership has got to be cheaper. There's got to be a saving for every patient becoming a member. So that's first and foremost. And for most practices, I recommend that over a course of a year, it's £10 to £15 better. You're better off being a member than you are paying as you go, because people add it up. And that's where the next equation comes in. What practices tend to do is they tend to add up the amount of examinations, the amount of hygiene appointments, and then x-rays and emergency appointments, and say, well, for an average person, they might have 1 x-ray per year, 1 emergency appointment within a 2-year period, and they add a fraction in. And therefore, it tends to make membership more expensive than it would be to pay as you go. And then you end up with a conversation with a patient that goes, well, if Laura, you did have 2 or 3 x-rays, or if you did have an emergency appointment, do you know what? It's better to be a member. But if I don't, it's not. So that doesn't work for me at all. I think that's a disaster, darling. So you need to make sure that the benefit needs to be that actually you don't pay for x-rays as part of diagnosis. And if you need an emergency appointment, then that is covered. And you need to be very clear about what goes into an emergency appointment. And again, this is where practices go wrong, is they start doing permanent treatment in an emergency appointment and not actually something temporary to get the patient out of the pain, and then have a conversation of the long-term solutions for treatment. So we could go on and on about that, but we won't. But that's where mistakes are made. Then, of course, you do need to have an attractive preferential saving of somewhere between 10 to 20%, bearing in mind that the membership price should be the fee that your practice needs to run, and not being something that's negative in the practice. So if I give a patient 15% off a filling or a crown, then actually the practice is losing out. You shouldn't be losing out by patients being members. So that really outreaches that if you have a core system that saves the patient 10 to 15 pounds a year, and then you're offering diagnostics, so x-rays and pictures at no charge, you're offering emergency in-house procedure at no charge. Most insurance providers will give you an insurance, a worldwide trauma insurance anyway as part of the agreement, so you can talk about that. Most memberships have a redundancy package alongside, so you can talk about the advantages of those as well. And then you've got your preferential saving off treatment, and some practices are giving a preferential saving off stock items that are within their practice as well. So off TP brushes, hygienist packs, things like that. And I think that's a very core, great way to start. Yes, there are other scatterings that other practices do, but I think that overall, for most practices, that would work well.
Yeah, and I think the biggest problem with it is that firstly, when it's priced wrong, so that there is that if that Michael's mentioned. The second thing is that the treatments in the practice aren't priced correctly, so the practice is losing money. And the thing that really gets what really gets me going with membership is when team members end up becoming insurance salespeople. I just can't stand that, because as a patient, if you were talking to me about membership and all you went on about was if, and oh, you get redundancy cover and you get travel insurance, or travel cover, or whatever it might be, you're selling me insurance. I do not want to be sold insurance. The other problem is that people use the word plan, which I detest, Mike detests.
Oh yeah.
Who on earth wants to join up to a plan? You've got to make this really attractive. Do gyms, are you a plan member? I can't even not say the word member. But let's talk about gyms. Let's start again, Laura. Gyms, you're not on a plan. You're not on a fitness plan at the gym, are you? You're a member, because they want you to feel that you belong. They want you to feel that you're comfortable there. And actually, it's the same in dentistry. So we absolutely hate.
Remember, your pets are on a plan.
Your pets are on a plan.
So don't put your patients on a plan. They need to be a member, as Laura said.
Also, one more.
Oh, sorry, darling.
Sorry, one more thing to add is that I do not like capitation-based schemes. Membership should be examinations and hygienist appointments, and it should be prescribed based on clinical need. Patients shouldn't see a list of fees and different levels and what you get, and it shouldn't be ruby, platinum, diamond, or whatever, because I most certainly would want to be diamond. They shouldn't be choosing based on price or anything else. It should be, this is the one for you. It's going to be £17.56 a month, because that's what you need clinically. And patients should be moving up and down as they need to, preferably down, because their oral health is improving. And I think that's another key benefit of membership. Patients are going to be coming more frequently. Their oral health is going to be better. So that is great. We're going to have to move on because we're really short on time. But we've done 3 questions so far, so that's great. Mike, what's your one?
Right, got a really juicy one here. You ready? Okay. So a lot of dentists are either principals or self-employed associates. So they cannot be told how to work, and you cannot infringe upon their clinical freedom. Therefore, what advice would you give to a dental team who is enthusiastic and proactive about creating the ultimate practice, but the dentists in the practice either cannot or will not change their ways?
Well, that really is quite simple to deal with, isn't it, Michael? You say bye-bye. Look, it doesn't matter who it is that's working in your business, and it doesn't matter whether they're self-employed or employed. At the end of the day, if you have a vision, and this person quite clearly has, if you have a vision and your team, any team member, even your cleaner, is not on board with that vision, then they have to go. They're not right for your business. They're actually damaging your business. They're going to cost you money. And it's not about, particularly with dentists or hygienists, it's not about saying clinically you must do this and clinically you must do that. This is the standards that we want to work to. For example, we want rubber dam used on composites. We do want a 6-point pocket chart on every sextant that has a BPE score of 3, and we want PAs for that sextant too, because that's what the guidance says. So if people aren't doing what you want them to do, and you have clearly communicated verbally in training and in systems, documented systems, what you want, and they're not doing it, then you have to say goodbye. And that is awkward and it's uncomfortable, but once it's done, you'll feel a lot better.
Yeah, and I would add to that it's really important. And I think practices are getting really hung up about becoming a corporate in one practice. And it's not about that. It's about actually being the brand that you want to be. And brands that understand who they are mean that everybody that works in that brand, whether it's a very small business of like 2 or 3 people, like, Laura and I work together, we're a brand. We work really hard on making sure that, we are brand consistent within our organization. You could say, well, we could say what we want as 2 different consultants. That wouldn't work. So it's the same for practices as well. If you've got more than one dentist, your communication and your clinical standards need to be on par with each other. They need to be brand consistent. And that does require the business owners to work hard with their clinicians, work hard with their team on the language they want talking about and the clinical standards and systems that they want them to operate in. So there is consistency. You can't have each dentist delivering a totally different new patient examination or a totally different filling appointment. It would mean that maybe 2 members or 3 members of one family could come in and have 3 different experiences within your practice. And for me and for Laura, that would be a major concern. And that's called being off brand. Yeah. So it's not about being corporate related. It's about being off brand within your own practice and what you have decided is important to you and the type of experience that you want to deliver to your patients.
Very good.
Do you want another one? Or
yeah, have you got? I've got a quick one. Have you got a quick one? Because we've got.
Go on, you go with a quick one, and I've got like racks of questions here.
Okay, so we will get all your questions answered. Our next hangout will be in June. So this is a very quick one. What is a USP? This came through Facebook. A USP is a unique selling point, and it's very important that every practice has strong, unique selling points, and they're actively marketing and communicating those unique selling points as well. Our unique selling point is that we are from the grassroots of dentistry, and between Michael and myself, we have, dare I say it, almost 40 years of combined experience in dentistry. And so, you know, you've got to have that unique selling point without a doubt. So find yours, hopefully you've got a few, and push them out there. But your number one USP should be so strong and really make you stand out from the crowd.
I've got a quick one about uniforms, if you've got time for that.
Oh, I love uniforms.
Yeah, one is the importance of branded uniforms, question mark, question mark, question mark. And should the receptionist wear tunic, same as the other staff, or suits and dresses?
You can see I'm so excited by this.
I know you're so excited.
Because I love it. Oh, do you know what really drives me crazy is when the front desk team are asked to wear their own clothes to work. It's just wrong. Why should they? And I just also feel that there's 2 things. One, I'm going to sound like a bit of a cow for this, but some people have got great taste in clothes. Some people haven't. Secondly, some people can't afford to be buying clothes for work, you know, clothes that they wouldn't normally wear out of work. And that's really unfair. I really don't like that. It's why schools have a uniform, so that everyone's equal and people aren't put under pressure. And I think that should apply in practice. They shouldn't necessarily have to wear the tunic if you don't want them to, but they have to wear a branded uniform, the same colours. It has to be very clear if they were, you know, sitting on a chair in the patient lounge talking to another patient. It has to be very clear to everyone else they are from your team. And also, it's the same for practice managers. They should be in a branded business dress. Not necessarily a dress, but branded business dresses in clothes.
Well, I totally agree. You know that we're a massive fan of branding. I think it's so important that everybody looks on point. And also, shoes are very important as well.
Yes,
they seem to be a missed out item on everybody's list, that they look amazing. They've got a gorgeous, you know, beautiful suit on or a beautiful tunic and what have you. And then you look at the shoes and you go, oh dear. So again, yeah, it's really important that, you know, the shoes are taken as part of, you know, the overall outfit as well, again, to get consistency, because, you know, if they're nurses, they will go out and buy the very cheapest, you know, shoe possible to wear, and they get damaged really quickly and they look awful. So that is something to think about. I think we've run out of time, haven't we? Nearly.
Yes, we're out of time. And on that note, Michael, I already have chosen my branded clothes for tomorrow for our course.
Have you, darling? Yeah. I have not. I think I'm wearing a purple suit tomorrow.
Oh.
Because I'm a little bit slimmer, so I can get into the purple suit now.
Hopefully we don't clash. No. Michael and I have the most beautiful, we're doing big events, we have the most beautiful, Michael likes to wear bow ties, those of you who haven't seen him. So we have 6, Michael has 6 bow ties, I have 6 posies, brooches, whatever you like to call them, and they all match, all made by the same people. So we always like, even though we might all be wearing black, for example, we will always have those on. So, you know, it's just something that we really like. So keep an eye out what we're wearing when you see us next. Right, the next Horton Hangout isn't going to happen until June. And that is actually going to be the end of June. And the reason for that is we're actually going to be closed for a couple of weeks in June while we take some time out. So please enjoy the Horton Hangouts. Please keep listening back. Send us questions. We really appreciate you joining us. And especially if you're on the podcast, wonderful. Thank you so much and goodbye.
Goodbye.